Hello YouTube! In today's video we're going to be changing the manual fuel feed pump on a Volvo D1-30, although the principles here will apply to many other engines that have manual feed pumps. Fuel needs to be pumped into a diesel engine at high pressure, and the diesel injection pump is brilliant at pumping fuel, but not air. As part of your engine maintenance routine, you'll need to change the filters in your fuel system, and in the process of doing this, you will naturally introduce air into the fuel pipes, so it's vital to get rid of that air before you start the engine. On many simple diesel engines, this is done using a manual fuel pump, sometimes called a primer pump, a lift pump, hand pump, or in this specific case, a feed pump. And that's where the big black button on top of the feed pump comes in. Undo a bleed screw and simply pump the air out with the button. If I just take it right out, which we don't really need to do, so it's hollow and it has a little hole in the side.
So there it is, look. There. And what we want to do is point that at the back of the engine so it runs down the engine and not squirts into our face.
Press the plunger, one last one, and then tighten that up. Now that should have got rid of all the air out of the engine, out of the system.
So disaster has struck. Whilst tightening the bleed screw, it sheared off with half of it still inside the pump. So the pump you can't strip down. So there is no easy way of getting the remaining half of this out. Tried a left-handed drill. That's not coming out. And I've got a couple of other options which we've tried and we didn't get very far with. So we've had to, rather unfortunately, well, buy a new pump.
When parts on your engine need replacing, and assuming you have time on your side, it's perfectly possible to find cheaper aftermarket parts as replacements. However, if you're against the clock, as I was in this instance, you are often forced to purchase original manufacturer's parts, which for boat engines usually means paying a premium.
So here she is, the new pump, and this is the bleed screw. Notice that it's not got a hollow centre, it's got this little ridge down it. And I wonder if that's because so many of these screws have sheared off in the past. The chap from Arrow Marine did say that they do go through a lot of these pumps because of this very thing. So maybe the Volvo changed the style. So now it's just got this groove up the side, up the thread, and as a result, that's how the fuel gets out, as opposed to the old one, the one we've just sheared off, which is a hollow centre with a hole in the side, as we showed you on the earlier video.
The process of replacing this pump is straightforward. First task is to remove the inlet and outlet pipes. If you're not sure of the size of spanner you need, I use a pair of vernier calipers, and as you can see, in this case we need a 20mm spanner. Loosen the hose clip and pull it clear, then undo the hose tail with the spanner. The challenge here is to make sure you don't let the fuel drain out of the pipe. That pipe connects the feed pump to the mechanical injection pump, and if there's any air in that section, it'll be drawn through into the injection pump and stop the engine. So I'm tucking it up out of the way to keep it full of fuel. The hose on the other side of the feed pump is less critical, and in this case is connected by a banjo bolt, which is a larger version of the hollowed out bleed screw that caused this whole mess in the first place. Finally then, it's just taking the two mounting bolts off the engine and removing the pump.
New lift pump in.
Right, so let's pump the billio out of this. There's a bit of diesel. We mentioned earlier that there's a possibility that air might get through to the injector pipes.
then it gets switched to the engine. So when we start it, it'll run and then it'll stop running. And if it does that, then we've got an airlock. Hopefully with a small engine, the starter motor will be enough to turn it and actually we'll be able to drag the air out of it. There shouldn't be much in, but if there is, we can't get it going again, we'll have to do it off the injectors. So I'm hoping that this starts first time, which I think it will, and then it carries on running, or it just falters a little bit and then carries on running. Hopefully all is well. So we're going to press the button and find out. The fuel filter's got a little leak round the top. I'll have to tighten that up. Apart from that, all seems to be well. It's been running about 5 minutes now, not a falter. Everything's good. So I was quite worried about that fuel leak for a minute there, and then I realised that the washer that comes with the filter, or you know, the rubber seal, was actually still on the old head of the old lift pump. So that's why. Obviously, this doesn't need to be here; it needs to be there, and then we've got a chance of it not leaking.
A quick scan for leaks. All that remains now then is to give everything a good clean up. I hope you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.